Welcome everybody to May 2018 Energies. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm airing from transCODES here on Monday the 30th of April, and I want to give you a little bit of an overview. If you are an empath or energetically sensitive person, then this may be useful information for you. We're going to go through the month, how collective energies appear to play into this exciting month, and then I'm going to give you a few energy tips how to handle these energies that can be challenging for some of us, or maybe even the collective itself. All right, so bear with me. It's going to be exciting. So what does May 2018 stand for? Energy in motion. Big transformation, guys. This month is the month that we have been foreseeing for a long time as energetically sensitives. And there's the one thing that we all have in common, and that is having these empathetic and precognitive abilities can sometimes be a burden, because we feel things so much ahead of time that sometimes we just want it to happen so we can get it out of our system. And May is going to be the first of a series of these months to come here that will bring this transformative, this renewal sense that we've been feeling for at least 7 or 8 years into the physical, into the practical. All right, so to a degree, nothing will be the same by the end of May than it is now. But this doesn't mean that everything is going to go into destruction. This has to do with our conscious level and how we contextualize what is going on. This has to do with things finally coming out of this sort of repressed, oppressed state of holding on, with white knuckles, holding on to old structures, holding on to my old coping, holding on to, the status quo or the old. And that's something that will take place on the collective as well as our personal level. And we will go through here how this is going to affect us. Collectively, you already get the gist here. This is not so hard to predict. There's a lot of stuff that is breaking open. A lot of truths are being revealed, and this continues here from these last months. And there will be more shocking news, okay? And this will not be that easy for us. And on a geopolitical level, it will lead to this sort of final standoff, really, where karmic issues that have been following a certain collective for thousands or hundreds of years will have to sort of come to a resolution. And this is actually a positive tendency. I really want you to feel this, that this is not about, oh my God, she said the world's going to end. No, this is about renewal energies, meaning that, yes, there's a little bit of destruction on the way, namely the destruction of the old, the destruction of the things that are no longer conducive, that are no longer supportive, that are not good for us anymore, that need to be shed, kind of like a snake sheds its skin, as it sort of goes into a new cycle. And May is basically here the beginning of a larger transformation. And I called this conscious transformation because there are specific aspects to this that we want to look at, namely how or what does affect our contextualization, how we see what we are experiencing. And that's pretty simple, guys. Whether you're empath or not, if you feel like life is just happening to you and you are sort of in this reactive mode all your life, then of course it is very easy to see yourself as a victim. And this is part of this transformation and self-healing process now, is that we want to evolve out of this. And how do we do this? By owning our journey, by taking charge of our own energies, by making conscious choices. And how do we make conscious choices? One of the main almost characteristics of empaths is that they have a hard time taking decisions simply because they're so bombarded on the inside, and for as long as they don't really know how to work these energies, but how to work projection and absorption and what affects them without sort of vilifying other people, it's very difficult to go into a stance, into like, this is what I stand for, these are my values, these are my priorities, this is what I truly want, this is what I truly need, this is what I truly love. Those are energies that you need to connect with this month. And when you can, and I'm going to talk about this here in a second, then this will be a most exhilarating and inspiring month for you. There's several phases to this, okay? And so in the timeline here of these incoming May energies, there's different tasks that we have. And so this first week here, this coming week, right, will be mostly about letting go of the old, the conscious letting go process. It's not so much yet a conscious decision, but it is this really connecting with, what feels like I need this and what feels like I don't need this anymore. So we've talked about this last month, with the spring cleaning and everything. It's part of this, but I'm now going a little deeper into the things that have a meaning to us. Okay, so whether it's a relationship or the kind of job that I have or the place that I live or simply, some beliefs that I've adopted that I'm not even aware of. And these things need to be let go of, limiting beliefs. This is coming in here from April, where we primarily worked with our inner fragmentation. And so a lot of people here at the beginning of May will still feel a bit isolated, will still feel a little bit separated from the whole, not really being able to connect. And this is what you want to work on here in this first week. Really go into your own feeling, be it your body or your emotion or even your thoughts, and really allow them all to be. This has a lot to do with giving yourself the space to feel and to connect within. That's the first week. In the second week, we're going to go more into the conscious choice part. This is like continuing giving yourself space, but this time, well, now that I've let go of things, I need to give myself to explore. This is about exploring your options, exploring, what can I do? And you really don't want to do this while you're in the middle of letting go and struggling still with maybe grieving certain things, disappointments or regrets and so forth. You want to do this a little later, after you've centered yourselves again and after you feel a bit more, I now know what I want. Now, in the second week of May, you have to give yourself a bit more space to explore. And there it's very important that you remember where your source of power is, and that you don't externalize again, that you don't listen to what other people tell you what to do or, what the society tells you to do. All right, it's very important that you allow yourselves even to explore to a place where you just do this for the sake of eliminating, and give yourself space to make errors too. And when you contextualize this exploration as increasing your ability to discern, then you don't really look at errors as errors anymore. And this can then lead to letting go of these last, sort of core fears, namely the fear of making mistakes or the fear of calling the wrong shot, setting on the wrong horse, you name it, the things that lead to this indecisiveness that comes from the conflict of your mind and your emotions. So indecisiveness has a lot to do with two factors, and one is the fear of taking responsibility, and unfortunately many of us have this overall externalization in our lives, meaning that we overall are not really seeing that we need to take responsibility. And the other part is, not really being able to discern between feelings, emotions, and sensations. So this will be the task for you in the second week, so that in the third week, when there's a lot of stuff coming in from the outside, a lot of surprises, shocking news, earthquakes, maybe even, there's a lot of violence, a lot of a lot more attacks, accidents, a lot of these sort of shocking news that will be coming in the third week of May. And that's when you really have to decide where you're standing, okay? You can't really drag along, with not knowing what to do and just looking at others. Others won't know what to do either. And your strength as an empath is that you know when you're in your heart. So you need to train this now, to know when you're in your heart and when you're not. And if you detect that you are disconnected from your heart or from yourself or your own source of power, then all you really need to do is a correction, is a reset. Just reset. Start over. Okay, let everything go. Take a deep breather. Do I am breathing. Maybe, you can look this up on my website. And create sort of space. Go into this place of nothingness for a little bit in your meditation, in your contemplation, and just to really reduce things to the essence of what they are, to the essence of truth, your truth, namely, who am I? What am I standing for? What are my values? Where is my love? It's very, very important that you know how to discern these things, okay? Because this will really enable you to become the rock in the shore. And many of you empaths also have this calling to be of service for others. Unfortunately, often sort of turned into this shadow trait of needing to fix everybody, including yourself. And that can be a correction that you may have to do. You also may feel like a victim all the time, or you may feel like not wanted, or that you don't belong. And this will be triggered here in the third week. You've got to really work with this and liberate yourself from this attachment, okay, that you need this validation, this confirmation from the outside. Then in the fourth week, guys, there will be a sort of a little bit of a contraction, not in a negative sense, but like pulling back in, okay? If I feel in the energy, it reminds me of what happened here in the United States the week after September 11th, this pulling back in, back into like what is truly important to me, where can I really see myself in collaboration with others, where can I get the things that make me really feel secure? And it is the simple things in life, guys. It is the connections that we have. It's the relationships that we have, and this will enable us to resolve long-standing family issues, okay? So in that fourth week where there's a lot of stuff coming in from the outside, you'll be able, to become way more clear about whom you really want to be with and what is really important in your life. And then towards the end of May, there's still a lot of explosiveness. So I'm expecting actually the majority of these outer shocking news or shocking events towards the very end here of May. And so all this, consciously letting go, consciously choosing, consciously correcting and discerning, and then consciously connecting, all right, was all just practice for what there is to come. Overall, it's a wonderful month to start a new endeavor and to really go through these processes that I just showed you in this way that you can even apply this to a business idea or to an investment or to a marriage maybe, or maybe you're planning or considering to have children. All these things play into how you're gonna feel that you're in charge of your life, so that you don't feel like this Cinderella or this resentful provider anymore, and that you're just like basically in here to survive your life. This is not why you came here, guys. You came here and you chose this time frame to incarnate and manifest into the physical conscious transformation, okay? And so this is something to look forward to, but don't be surprised when there's a lot of resistance and a lot of wear and tear occurs on the outside and even on sort of the earth changes level, all right? So when it comes to the energy tips that I have for you here, then most of these are sort of found in questions. how can you get to this place of discernment? How can you get to this place where you can answer, these inner debates, with a clear, okay, I want this, or I'm standing for this, or I'm committing myself to this, so that you can get out of this dithering and out of this wobbling and out of this back and forth. And the best way to do this is actually to besides, of course, meditation and energy work training, which we offer here at transCODES, is to go into this inner place of calm, into this inner place of stillness, and learn how to silence your mind, learn how to silence your emotions. And the I am breathing, the heart breathing technique that I mentioned earlier, you can look this up on my website, is a very good tool for this. But when you're in this like calmer state, you want to ask yourself sort of key questions that help you to program or reprogram yourself. And these questions, for this month are, does your family, or do the people that you're surrounded with, do they respect you? And do you respect them? Do you feel that, you belong? Or do you constantly have to fight for it? Do you constantly have to be somebody else, or feel like you have to be different, you have to be better, or you're not good enough? Okay, this is a red flag for you guys, because if you feel that way, then there's either a limiting belief within you, and maybe even misunderstandings, or it's just really not that conducive of a place or a group to be with. All right. Same with are you even present enough to feel when energies of another person in direct interaction is compromising your energy? Can you even feel when you are perhaps infringing for other people? This has a lot to do with you knowing your energy, and you knowing how it interacts, and you knowing how to direct this, and how to correct this. This is why, we go through so much effort here at transCODES to teach people that. And do you know when it's time to stand up for yourself? Do you know when it's time to like say, okay, I can see the larger picture, and yes, there's a part of me maybe that wants to conform, but I can't stand for this, and so I'm standing up for myself. Just because I'm standing up for myself doesn't mean that I have to go against everything else. So in relationships, I as an energy coach, I see this a lot. When people have inner conflicts, like say they feel like they need more time or more space for themselves, and they have a hard time communicating this to their partner. It's really important that you tune yourselves into the meaning of this. When you need something, or when you feel the need to stand for something, just because you are for yourself doesn't mean that you are against the other. That's part of that's part of the dualism of our ego. So that one is, is something that we would call limiting belief. You have to let go of that, because in the end, everything that is conducive for you, everything that is good for you, is good for your relationship, is good for your family, is good for your children. One more tip here for those of you who are trying to consider, new business endeavors or new relationships, because a lot of you actually may get into this place this month where you are being, maybe like a proposal, where you're being asked if you want to get married or want to have a baby, or these larger type of decisions. So this whole month here has this energy of decision making. Okay, then do yourselves and your partner or business partner a favor and go into collaboration, go into clarifying all these things that you're not sure about. Really train yourself to go into reflection and say, this and this, makes me feel so and this are my concerns. And how are you feeling about this? And my impression of you is that you feel this way and this way. Is this correct? Or do you really want me to feel this way? Clarify, okay? Don't go into assumption. This will be a big factor here for how easy, you can deal with all these changes that are coming in now. So big change, really exciting. I'm looking forward to May, and I hope you do too. And if you feel like you need a little bit of guidance or assistance in this, you know you can always email me for a free counsel here at info@transcodes.com, or come to our ongoing sessions that we have that you just saw here in the calendar, or become a part of our Sacred Self-Healing community that does that, you know, individually through going through the course lessons, but also comes together and trains things together, which can oftentimes make us, empower us in a way that we finally understand that we're not alone. Even though as empaths and energetically sensitives, we often have that feeling that nobody else sees the world that we do. This is why we've built this Sacred Self-Healing community over these last 6 years, you know, to bring all of us together so that we can see that we are not alone. All right. I wish you guys a wonderful time. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to my newsletter to get email notifications when new videos or new reports are out. Bye-bye.